let's help you build the ultimate morning routine for success. And no, this routine is not going to take you 3 hours in the morning. It's not going to add more stress to your life. You don't need any sort of extra equipment because you already have all of it at home. And I'm going to just break down and simplify morning routines for success in this video because there is so much noise in the world. There's so much confusion. And especially with all these biohackers, people are, giving out these crazy routines of things that you need to do every single morning in order to be successful. And that is not at all the case. I've had a successful morning routine for the past 10 years. I've done experimentation with so many things, all the way from cold showers to all these different light therapies to all these things. And I have finally boiled it down to a few key things that can really help you set your day up for success. If you're new to this channel, my name is Dr. Bisley Natley. I'm a cognitive behavioral therapy certified naturopathic doctor, and I teach people how to rewire their brain naturally. And if you've ever worked with me, all my patients know this, I am all about simplicity. Simplicity. And I always tell my patients this, that you don't need to do crazy, wild things in order to achieve massive, great results with your health. And even with the treatment plans that my patients see, they're like, wow, it's just, these are the things I need to do. I'm like, yeah. The other day, I had a patient who, her anxiety was gone, her cravings were gone, her mood was so much better. And overall, all her goals that we had started working on were all met. And it's because we fixed her nutrient deficiencies and she was getting enough more protein in her diet. And a couple of the nutrient deficiencies that came up in her blood work, we fixed those. And then, of course, I did a whole bunch of other mindset work, and there were other things that I did. I don't want to oversimplify my treatment plan. Like, I've worked hard to get to this place where I know what works with my patients, but really those were the two big things that really moved the needle for her in a big way, along with the other stuff too. But, when she was like, wow, it's like, I love that this is just simple stuff that I can continue doing for the rest of my life. I'm like, yeah, this is what it's all about. And I'm so glad that you're in this place. And my favorite part, I always say with my patients and clients, is to say goodbye to them because they're doing better. And so it was a beautiful visit to have with her yesterday, and just see that she's in such an amazing place now, because I know when we started, she'd been in a bit of a difficult place with her mental health and her anxiety. So it was great. And so coming back to this video and really morning routines for success, and I also really want you to understand that it's important to have some type of a morning routine. I think a lot of us, we just snooze our alarm clock, first of all, 20 different times, and then we get out of bed, and then we get out of bed at the very last moment, and we're just completely rushed. And the reason a morning routine is so important is because it allows you to start your day in a calm, regulated way. And when you can start your day in a calm, regulated way, it sets a foundation for you to have a more calm, regulated day, versus when you wake up and you start your day very dysregulated, it just sets the foundation for you to have a bit more of a dysregulated day. So that's really the goal of having a nice morning routine. And something I want you to keep in mind too is that your cortisol hormone, which is your stress hormone, is the highest in the morning, specifically around 8 a.m. So if you ever go get your cortisol checked, you got to go around that time so that your doctor can get the best results. And essentially that cortisol hormone tends to be the highest then. And the reason for that is because this is what gets us out of bed. That cortisol shoots up, and then we're able to just get out of bed in the morning. And so very important when you look at it, our circadian rhythm and regulating our sleep-wake cycles, for us to have that little bit of a big a little bit of a big spike is what I meant to say, not hype, spike of that cortisol in the morning. And so if you're starting your day off in a very dysregulated way, it can, spike your cortisol higher than it needs to be. And so we want to make sure we have a nice spike of cortisol, but also it's not going too high or too low. And I'm going to be very honest with you, lately in my practice, more than ever, I've been getting everybody's cortisol levels checked, because I'm like, everybody needs to get their cortisol level checked. I have never seen so much dysregulation in cortisol levels before. I have yet to find healthy cortisol levels in anyone that I've tested so far. Either the cortisol levels are too high or they're too low, and that's going to cause severe dysregulation all throughout the body, and getting them in check becomes very, very important, especially if you want to be calm, in control. You want to show up as your highest self. And so a great place to start with that is your morning routine. So if you are someone who's snoozing your alarm clock, you're not making time and space for yourself, that is honestly the first place that I want you to start with. You really have to make sure that you're making that time and space for yourself in the morning, morning so that you can have a very nice, calm way to start the day. And it doesn't have to be long. If you want to start off with just 10 minutes, just to 10 minutes, and then you can obviously, of course, work your way up to a longer time. I like to ideally at least minimum give myself 30 minutes. If I'm really feeling my morning, I'll give myself an hour, but usually 30 minutes is what I like to do. And then I'll go through kind of the steps that I have for you because, I mean, actually my morning routine can be a little bit longer than that because the third step I shared with you, that's why it ends up being longer, like closer to an hour and a half. But you'll see why. It's not because I'm doing something wild like a cold plunge or anything like that. Which also be mindful of this. Little side note, when it comes to cold plunges, everybody out here is cold plunging right now. If you're already super stressed out, if your cortisol levels are too low, cold plunging is going to make everything worse. I don't ever cold plunge. There was a point in my life where I did it, but I don't do it anymore. I just feel like it dysregulates me even more and adds more stress to me instead of making me feel better. I probably also need to get my cortisol levels checked because life has been so busy and I'm sure mine are a little bit dysregulated. And that's probably why cold plunging is not doing what it really should be doing for me. And with that being said, let's go through the steps of having a great morning routine that's going to rewire your brain for success. So step number 1 is one of the most important things that you can do, which I think a lot of people forget about, is you want to be supporting your sleeping and waking cycles in a really healthy way. So obviously, if you can start the night before, right? So that looks like having a good wind down routine. It looks like doing things to regulate your nervous system response so that you're in a calm state. If you want a video on this, let me know. I have talked about it before, but I can go into way more depth on what a good wind down routine for sleep looks like and why it's so important for you. Now, at the opposite end, when you wake up in the morning, what becomes really important is that we want to support really healthy cortisol levels. And depending on where you live in the world and depending on how early you wake up, the sun isn't always out to support you. So I can, give you my example. I live in Toronto, Canada. And so most of the year, the sun isn't out at 5, 6 a.m. when I wake up. And even now in the summer, like today, I woke up at 5:30 a.m. The sun wasn't really that out. It was a bit of a cloudy morning. And, the sun is out and bright and it's here now, but it wasn't really there much at 5:30 a.m. in the morning. And what we really want to do in the morning when you wake up is we want to support that waking cycle, right? So we want to support your body producing enough adrenaline and cortisol that's going to really help you get out of bed. And ideally, having sunlight in the morning is fantastic for that. Now, it's not always there. So what do you do? Some things that can really help you wake up better in the morning, because a lot of us, we find it really difficult to wake up, especially if we don't have the sun helping us with that. I'm thinking about even just in winter, it can be so difficult to wake up when it's super dark outside. So using light in the morning in a smart way can really help you to get out of bed. So one of the things that I have is a sunrise clock. It's been the most life-changing thing for me because again, I'm an early riser, okay? I'm like an early bird. Love it. I love my mornings. And so I use a sunrise clock to wake up. So I'll set the sunrise to start 20 minutes before my time to wake up. And what I'll do is, so if I'm supposed to wake up at 5 a.m., the sunrise clock will start at 4:40 a.m. And it's almost like the sun slowly starting to come out and it gets brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. And what I'll do is, when it's around 4:40, 4:45, my eyes will slowly start to open up because the light is shining into my eyes. And I'll just just look at that clock. Sometimes I keep my eyes closed a little bit, but it's not my time to get out of bed yet because there's still 15 minutes left. But I'll just slowly open my eyes and I'll start to think about the day. And I'll, ideally in the morning, I like to just, tell myself it's going to be a great day. I'm so grateful to wake up. Thank you, God, for another beautiful day. Just really trying to fill my mind with positivity. And I'll look at that clock. And eventually, as it gets brighter and brighter, I literally get more and more awake, because the most powerful thing you can do in the morning is to give your eyes that bright light. That's why sunlight is so great. But again, it's definitely not out at 4:40 a.m. And so having that clock really stimulates to my brain and tells my brain, hey, we're waking up. Anybody in there? Let's go. And so that helps the production of that adrenaline and cortisol that's going to help me get out of bed. And then when I get out of bed, what I do is that I sit in front of a 10,000 lux bright light. Oh my God, it has been an absolute freaking game changer for me. I honestly got into the bright light therapy game a little bit too late, considering all the work I do in brain health and mental health. I really started to get into it last year. And it was just a little experiment for me. I was in Costco and there was the light there. It was $50. I was like, let me just get it. Let me try it out. Heard so much about it. And wow, has it completely changed my life. And I felt like it just completely changed winter for me. So much research on just bright light therapy and how beneficial it can be for your mood, for your mental health. But what I really find is that in the morning, it's again really incredible to just like, so, if I'm doing like my meditation, which visualization in the morning, which was actually step number 2, I'm going to get into that soon. Or, as I'm journaling, I'll be like writing in my journal and I'll have that bright light out. And I'll leave it on for the first like 20-30 minutes of my day. And again, what that bright light does is that the whole goal is to kind of stimulate the sun. Is it going to match the sun? Of course not. But research has shown that 10,000 lux bright light tends to be the most beneficial. And so I'll leave that light on. And as I'm writing, it's kind of in the corner. You never want to look at it directly. You don't even want it to face you directly. You kind of leave it off to the side as you're kind of doing whatever it is you're doing. And I notice that I just feel so much more awake, so much more alert. And I honestly use it every single morning because, again, the sun isn't out most mornings that I wake up. So I wake up in the dark. And so I always leave that light on and I use it all throughout the year. And it's been truly one of the most transformative things to just help me wake up, help me feel more alert, especially in the morning. You can honestly get this light like anywhere. You just got to make sure it's 10,000 lux because that's what's been proven to be best and shown to be best essentially by research. Now, step number 2 of having a morning routine that sets you up for success for the day is visualization. Not long. If you want to start out with 5, you can do 5. I do 10 minutes every single morning. So what does that visualization look like and why is it so important? 1, visualization, when you combine it with deep diaphragmatic breathing, it really helps to regulate your nervous system response and helps to put you into that calm state. 2, visualization is so helpful because every time you visualize, you're rewiring your brain. Every time you visualize, you are setting yourself up for success by imagining how you want things to go in your life. And so what the process of visualization looks like, again, set that timer for 5 or 10 minutes. Initially, what you'll notice, you might have a whole bunch of thoughts coming up. That's okay. Continue to take the deep breaths. And then what I want you to do, a few different ways that you can do this. I like to do it both of these ways. Either one, you can imagine a few of your goals that you want to achieve. So really long-term goals, right? So one of my big goals is I want to be a speaker on stages. So I'll always imagine myself on a stage in front of hundreds of thousands of people in the audience and me doing my talk and then my family's there waiting for me, congratulating me. And then the other thing that I'll also do too is that I'll just visualize my day and how I want my day to go. So I imagine myself doing all of my work, showing up calmly, feeling joyful, feeling great. And that's the other key here too, is when you visualize, it's not just about imagining the thing, but it's about rewiring your brain and allowing yourself permission to feel how good it feels to move through your day in this way. And I find just like ever since I've started doing this morning visualization practice, my days just go by so much better. I feel so much more calm, so much clearer. And I just overall just am connected with joy and gratitude that much more. And also just faith, because I feel like once I've just visualized and given myself permission to just imagine my day and how I want it to go, it's almost just like, oh, like this is possible. I can do this. I can make it happen. And it literally feels like it just makes the day go by that much easier. So that's essentially the process of visualization. Feel free. You can go and like look at a YouTube video to see how to do this as well. I've been practicing meditation for over 10 years, so I don't really listen to that many things anymore. Every once in a while I will, but I honestly just, put on that timer, just sit with myself, connect with myself, and just let my mind run wild. I think it's so important with visualization. Don't hold yourself back. This is your chance to daydream, to let your mind run wild. So let your brain and your mind dream big, and definitely don't hold yourself back on any of this visualization work. It's been such a transformative way to just start my day. So again, right? And what you can do, you can combine that bright light therapy with this, is you can keep that bright light on as you're essentially doing that meditation and that visualization. And then step number 3 of a successful morning routine is to get in some sort of movement. Movement is just so important to get, and I'm just a firm believer that movement in the morning is the best, okay? I'm a little bit biased because I love my morning movement. I know that some people are just like, I go to the gym after work, or later in the evening, or just later in the afternoon. But I just think that getting movement in the morning is just so incredible, especially for someone who's looking to rewire your brain and you really want to have a strong foundational start to the day. So why is movement so important? Number 1, when you move your body, your brain just gets that immediate blood flow to it. Your brain releases all your feel-good hormones like serotonin, all the endorphins. Your brain actually builds new cells and new pathways when you you actually move your body. And so if you're thinking about building that positive mindset, if you're thinking about rewiring your brain, combine it with a walk. I'll tell my patients to go on that positivity walk and talk about the life that they essentially want, because as they're walking, they're literally rewiring their brain. And I think too, movement as well in the morning is can be so great because it just helps. It can regulate your nervous system too, by the way, depending on the type of movement you do, and depending on how intense you go. Sometimes intense movement can increase your stress hormone even more. So just be really mindful of that. If you're someone who's already dysregulated, stressed out, doing more gentle movement like walking or yoga might actually be way better for you. And I also think that too, when you start your day with movement, it's almost like you can check off a hard thing that you already did. And I think for a lot of us, the more that we delay movement to later in the day, the easier it becomes for us to make excuses as to not do it. And it's not just you, I promise you, it's me too. If I don't work out in the morning, it's so much easier for me to just be like, that's okay, I'll do it tomorrow, or let me just rest today, or today's been such a long day, I'm so tired, or actually I have more work to do and work is more important than me moving my body. Something I'm really working on and making sure I don't sacrifice myself for my work, because, we all have our ways of how we sabotage and we bring ourselves down. So that's essentially my work in progress. I'm actually going to make a whole video on that because I feel like I have discovered so much about self-sabotage through this. And so getting that movement in can be such an incredible and amazing way to start your day, to regulate your nervous system. And so that's why when I was saying earlier that sometimes my morning routine actually ends up being an hour and a half, it's because of the movement that I get in. So oftentimes I'll either go running or I'll strength train, or sometimes I'll just start my day with yoga. I'm not going to lie to you. When I start my day with yoga, holy, like, there was this meme going around, or like a trend going around, of the holy effing hairball or something like that. That's literally what I feel like when I talk about doing yoga in the morning. It's like holy effing hairball. I just feel so calm, so regulated. And so what I'll do is that even if I don't do a full yoga workout, I'll play like a 10-minute yoga video and I'll do my stretching via a yoga video after I go on a run or after I do my strength training, and I just feel so incredible. Like yesterday I did my upper body, did like arms and back, and then I played a 10-minute yoga with Adriene video. Oh my God, I just felt so amazing after that 10-minute yoga stretch. I just felt so good. And so really easy things to just incorporate in the morning. So it doesn't have to be a lot, right? Like this whole routine I described, you could do 10 minutes of that visualization. You could do 10 minutes of yoga, and you could have your bright light playing and happening in the background while you do all of these things, and you can just check off all these things. But what you're essentially doing in the morning is that you're giving your brain an opportunity to regulate itself. You're giving your brain an opportunity to have a vision of the day and set an intention of what it is that you're working towards. And you're just getting that opportunity to just deeply connect with yourself before you go out and you give yourself to the rest of the world. And so I really hope that seeing this video today and just getting an idea of this morning routine has given you ideas of your own that you could start doing, or really just take these 3 steps, because I have experimented with so much stuff over the years and I've just really simplified it to this routine. And some days I'll add in a little bit of like journaling, or if I have more time, I'll add in some other stuff. I mean, rarely do I have more time, but I really will try to at least do all of these 3 things in the morning. And I have noticed a huge difference in myself and my day and how it goes when I give myself time and space to do these things versus when I don't. So I'm telling you, even just commit to this for a week, you're going to notice such a big shift in yourself. Start with 15 to 20 minutes, work your way up if you can. And I truly believe everybody has 15 to 20 minutes in the morning. Everybody does. And a couple of other things too is like, don't touch your phone first thing in the morning. I don't even bring my phone into my bedroom. And so I really don't touch my phone at all until later in the morning, or at least until after I've done my morning routine. And so, keeping some of these distractions and things away will really allow you to give yourself that space that you need and just watch it completely transform your life. If you are looking for one-on-one support to specifically rewire your brain, I got your back. Use a link in my bio to book a free clarity call with me. I also just recently launched a new ebook that teaches you all about how to regulate and rewire your nervous system. And so you can also download that. The link is below. I hope that overall that this video was helpful and it's really inspired you to start your morning routine, because if you can take power and control of your morning, you'll have better power and control over your day.